Mr. Foster Friess made a fortune figuring out these type of markets. I bet he knows, as well as some political developments. Foster, if you don't mind my picking that financial brain of yours first, what do you think the markets see in a much, much weaker than expected employment report? Going back to your value investor days, I mean, what value do they see in an economy that could be tanking?
Well, one of the things we always told our potential clients is never invest in the stock market. Invest in individual companies. So we try to find companies that could thrive despite what the economy did. If I called up a trucking company and said, well, we ought to be able to grow 18% if the economy improves, that isn't what we wanted to hear. We wanted to hear companies that could grow 18, 20% despite the economy. And if you look over a long period of time, the success came by isolating those companies that had a dynamic and a power all of their own. So basically, we pretty much try to let the market be irrelevant, because you can go crazy trying to figure out interest rate directions and what the Fed's going to do and employment rates. So we just ignored a lot of that stuff. And for instance, a friend of mine, Glenn Stearns, is a big mortgage broker. And by talking to companies, and I didn't talk to him at the time, but he saw the mortgages he was processing, that the housing debacle wasn't too far away. So he was very quick to spot that and adjusted it. So by talking to companies and competitors and suppliers, that's where you learn a little bit more about the economy rather than the other way around.
I guess I should have pre-interviewed you when you just dismissed the markets altogether, and seeing as this is our bread and butter here at Fox Business. But that's okay. That's okay. But I did want to, you mentioned a very good point about, you know, obviously you got, look at individual stocks, individual companies. But how do you advise investors who get caught up in this, and even if they've got a good stock representing a good company, it gets caught up in that downdraft, just as all biotech stocks did for the sins of a couple?
Yeah, well, you just hang in there. I have a believing that eventually truth will prevail. And what we have to do is try to promote truth. Like, for example, Rudy Giuliani just pointed out, President Obama gets on the TV and says, where we are the safest is where we have the strongest gun control. And that goes out through all America, the media broadcasts, and no one challenges it. Rudy Giuliani says, hey, wait a minute, Illinois has one of the worst murder rates, 2.5 times New York City. How can he say that strong gun control laws
very good
bring
point.
safer
By the
environment?
way, one of the greatest acts of carnage we've ever seen in human history was in Norway on an island where 60 kids were killed by a deranged gunman. But that's you're right about that, the way the media will pounce on certain things. But, you know, you're obviously very big in Republican circles. Your money matters. Who you talk to matters. You have backed Rick Santorum. We talked about this before. But I'm told, without expressing your allegiances one way or the other, that the donor crowd is anxious, wanting to see how this Trump thing sorts out. Is that true, that everyone's money or wallets are frozen?
Well, that probably is true, but anyone who ever has been to a Trump hotel knows why he's doing so well, Neil. You go to most of these upscale hotels, you get this little note in your bed. If you would like to partner with us to help preserve the wonderful, precious planet we have by being conscious of conservation, hang up your towel. You go into Trump's hotel and you got a little message, hang up your dang towel so you don't cut into my profit margins.
It's a slightly different persuasion. But
yeah,
are donors hanging tight?
I think so, and also it's because we have so many excellent candidates, and you go right down the list: Carson, Fiorini, Kasich, all these guys, Rubio, all of them. I mean, Carson. I just am so taken by the ability of the Republicans to field what at one time was 17 awesome candidates, and the Democrats can't even find one.
All right. I think I know your biases here. I'm kidding. Foster, it's always good seeing you. And thanks for the financial insight. I wanted people to be reminded of that. That's how he became who he is. Foster Friess, thank you very, very much.